we are talking the International Day of Caring, and I started off by saying it's something we need to do more in Trinidad and Tobago. What's happening with us, people? Come on, and if you do care, at least show it a little bit, you know. Too many times you see, and I want to go there, too many things on social media, like people just preferring to tape and record things. Jump in and help. Care about your fellow man and jump in and help and do something, you know. Don't just say, oh, look at Bacchanal. But anyway, to tell us more about what's happening with the International Day of Caring. Why are we becoming? I didn't grow up like that. But anyway, Kevin Garcia, who is the Resource Investment Officer for United Way, and also Jason Thomson, who is the Resources Investment Manager for United Way. So good morning to you, gentlemen.
Good morning. Good morning.
National Day of Caring. And I breathe a sigh because it's like, where are we in Trinidad and Tobago? But let's talk to people about the International Day of Caring so that maybe we can get some awareness out there for people to, let's care, people, please.
Sure. No problem.
So Jason, tell us all about what the National Day of Caring 2017.
So this is the fourth version of the National Day of Caring, and it really was our attempt to involve the general public predominantly through our donor partners in the corporate sector to give back to their communities. In 2008, when the first version of this happened, and it's morphed several times since then, we aligned ourselves with our worldwide partners, United Way Worldwide, and they do what they call the Day of Caring. And it's done on one day across the world. There's 1,799 other United Ways. And they pick a topic and execute community-based projects across the world on that day. Sadly, we couldn't align ourselves to the actual date because it just didn't fit the calendar, but we felt we needed to do something. So in 2008 it started, and at that point in time there were 4 staff members of United Way, and we had 19 children's homes that we support. So we took the kids out and took their caregivers out and gave the caregivers the day off. Over time that changed and changed and changed up until 2013. And in 2013, we had 350 volunteers come out from our corporate partners, and they helped us entertain those same children and the caregivers. And at that point in time, we then realized that we were running into a different situation. And the situation was we almost had as many volunteers as children, and some of the volunteers felt that they were bored. So we tried to figure out a way to get more people involved by, I guess, so to speak, evolving it even further. At that point in time, Jervis Warner, who is the president and CEO of Massey, he came on board United Way in the capacity of board member as well as the campaign chairman. And he threw the idea, which sounded crazy at the time, to take it from this niche population and open it up to a more national audience. And thus it was born. From year to year, we've grown. Last year we topped off at 3,502 volunteers, all operating on the same day. We had 63 successful projects running concurrently. We benefited, or should I say, those resources benefited upwards of 10,000 people. And I'm talking about from the general public to the people in the institutions that were chosen, and so on and so forth. We don't collect any resources as in financial or human. We support the different projects that are happening. So in essence, companies and their staff can get involved on any level. We've had companies refurbish entire schools in 3 days. We've had companies cook pots of food and take it to the home for the aged and just share time with them. So I mean, there's no real budget limit. It's whatever the company can afford, and whoever the staff can be motivated to come out.
And I know that we've been to some of your events, and if I remember correctly, maybe it was last year, if not last year, the year before, it's usually at, is it Republic Bank grounds that the event is held? But across the country, as you mentioned, the volunteers from the various corporate institutions are at various places, painting or building something or doing something across Trinidad and Tobago as well. And I thought that was so fascinating, so interesting.
This is no different. We replaced that Republic Bank Sports Grounds project, which was our home project, and we have now taken it up a notch. We decided to concentrate this year on more sustainable projects that would affect communities as opposed to individual pockets of individuals. And what we ended up doing was choosing a school in St. James.
Okay.
It's the St. Mary's Mucurapo Boys RC,
Okay.
just off George Cabral. And us together with 7 other partners are coming together to do a small, or what we call light refurbishments on the school.
Nice.
I know standard 5 classroom has already been done. The library has been done. And it should just keep on going.
Yeah, just building.
Yeah.
So give us a rundown, an idea of what's happening this year for 2017.
Well, I like how you started off by saying that you're so fed up of seeing all of these negative things on Facebook.
Care, people, care.
So one of the major theme for this year is changing the conversation for hope. So we're hoping that we can get the entire nation, instead of focusing on negative, changing the conversation towards more positive thinking, more collective thinking, collective responsibility. So instead of what can I do, what can we do, how can we all collectively change that conversation to create some hope for the next generation, to bring the generation coming up after us up with us with positivity. So we're engaging the boys, not just only at the Mucurapo school, the St. Mary's School, but also at Cookreet in
Cookreet
Waterville.
Government Primary.
And we're in Port of Spain, southeast Port of Spain. So we're trying to engage these 3 marquee projects along with the many, many other projects. We're up to 48 right now. And hopefully we'll be still growing until we touch down on May 21st.
Now, when you say that there are 48 other projects, what are you referring to, and what's taking place with those 48 other projects?
Maybe I can shed some light on that one. So as Kevin said, we have 3 major projects
Right.
which have the collective working. One is in the Eastern Boys and Girls, one is in Cookreet Government Primary, and one is in the St. Mary's Mucurapo Boys. Those ones, once the day is finished, United Way will go back in and institute some other programs which will engage the children for many, many terms, if you want to put it that way. But apart from those, we have 60 odd companies so far that have come together to execute many, many projects across Trinidad and Tobago, as you said. So some of the projects include, for example, Scotiabank. They are doing a tree planting exercise, and it starts in Icacos and goes all the way across to Tobago. Likewise, First Citizens is also doing green spaces where they teach the kids at the various sites how to institute grow boxes, etc. Right. So food sustainability is a big one, carrying over from last year into this year. We also have institutions that are refurbishing children's homes. We have some that are doing motivational workshops in secondary schools because, as you quite rightly said, you turn on the social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, it doesn't matter what you look at.
No.
You're bombarded with all this negativity. And as Kevin said again, changing the conversation is one of the ways in which we can engage everybody to simply speak their mind. We wanted to go viral, but we didn't want to set it up as a viral campaign, so to speak. So Kevin and I have been going to individual companies and interviewing individual people to just simply tell us, well, what have you done to change the conversation in the past? Or what do you plan to do to change the conversation in the future?
And you know, it's not about telling people stop talking negative things.
Yeah.
We're just saying, okay, let's take that energy and see how we can now change it into something more positive.
Positive, yeah. Instead of focusing all the time on just the negative, let's find something positive out of whatever it is that we're doing. Now, May 21st, that's Sunday, May 21st, that's when the outpouring of caring is going to take place. How is that going to be unfolded on May 21st?
Many different ways. So the day starts off with generally the steering committee chairman, which is Mr. Warner, will open up the day probably at the Eastern Boys and Girls project site. He's going to say a few words and then the day officially begins. And throughout the day, we have to thank our partners here at CNMG. Suite 100 is on board and they're going to be doing live broadcasts from different sites as they roam around. Mark Anthony, I have to talk to you, remind me.
And he's listening, he's watching.
And literally that's it. So at any point in time, just like in the last 2 years, he will be calling out to different project sites, and the vice versa can also happen. Project coordinators can actually call in to let the general public know this is happening, etc., etc. This does not mean that just any member of the public can just show up at a project site simply because there are liability issues, and companies have to be very careful that health and safety requirements are met. But we do have a recycling project which is going to happen in concurrence or in connection with the Massey Group. Again, Massey Stores has reached out to us. They're giving us the West Moorings site, Maraval. We also have Massey Catton, Shogunas, and Gulfview. And today, coincidentally, it's going to start. You're going to see all the different media popping up in the newspapers, online, etc. It will let people know exactly what we will be collecting, where you can drop it off, and exactly how to be part of the Day of Caring. And hopefully, for 2018, 19, 2020, we'll be in a better position to have more and more public participation by way of members of the public engaging their companies to say, listen, let's try to do something better. Let's do something better for those that we serve, and by extension, the country that we live in.
Now, in changing the conversation, as Kevin said, are you still having that main event? Because you are having, again, things across the country, like you always do. Are you still having that main event where organizations, children, and different things come, like how you did at Republic Bank? Is that still taking place, Kevin?
Well, we're not doing that event on the 21st. We've moved it outside of the Day of Caring, because we're more focusing this year on actual physical exactly getting your hands a little bit dirty, so that we can now physically change the conversation, and then we'll have a little chat with the kids a little later on in the year. We don't have a date set just yet.
Because I assume to organize all of this would be.
It is a massive undertaking. Just at where we're looking at the St. Mary's School, we have 8 partners taking part, participating, and we've already, because it's so massive, we've already had 1 room done. We're starting again with the library this week, and even on the day itself, we wouldn't be starting anything until the Friday before, because we're trying to create a whole new learning environment for the children for when they get back in there.
It sounds fantastic. And how can individuals be a part of it? I know it's more of a corporate as it is now, but individuals and...
Right, so individuals can simply give us a call at the office, 625-8286. Find us online, www.uwtt.com.
Great.
Give us a call, find out if there is still time to register a project and be part of it. We do have some spaces that will be available to them to partner with other companies.
Great. Thank you, Kevin and Jason.